I can hear it now. Fans take the field, and out of that eastern tunnel pour 215 well-drilled, well-disciplined Michigan bandsmen. They pour over the eastern sideline, they pour in the big lockdown, and they play the greatest college fight song ever written.
Yeah, well, 3 in a row is nice.
Love it.
Love it.
I love and love, hate and hate. Love that hate got beat 30-24.
I mean, there were some tense moments. It wasn't the second half bloodbath that it had been the last couple years.
Yeah, it was about to be. It was about to be. Michigan scores on their last drive instead of kicking the field goal. Ohio State does something silly, turns it over. Michigan scores again. I mean, they're.
I know.
Ohio State played smart. They played a good game. In fact, I wanted to talk about how good of a game they played because this was a tough passing offense, and Michigan really kind of had to pull out all the stops, legally in order to take care of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it was a huge sigh of relief from a standpoint of, got to do it on the field, got to prove it on the field. A lot of people wanted to wipe out the memory of the previous 2 Big Ten championships these past 2 years.
You don't get to do that. I don't care. That was they, and now it's funny because we talked about this on WTKA this morning. Like Ari Wasserman and other people are out there saying like, "Ah, man, what an opportunity! We had to change the narrative. We could have changed the narrative. We could have gotten people to believe our BS. If we'd only won this game, they would have believed that the other ones were flukes." Get out of here. The other ones weren't flukes. Neither was this one. Michigan was the better team in 21, better team in 22, better team in 23, because Michigan's doing something Ohio State's not doing. They love.
I love it. Love it. All right.
That's why I guaranteed this win, and that's why I was not worried at all. I knew
you're in a good mood this week. I'm in a good mood too, Seth. Rates have come down to the low 7s. Might even get across the 6% line sometime soon. So anybody looking to buy a house might be a better time than it was a couple months ago. A lot of people interested in new builds, kind of investment properties, all that. Realtor and Lender.com is how you find me. So pretty easy to find me. So let's get into it. We want to talk about how we adjusted to the adjustments, what we did that brought the good guys out on top at the end.
Yeah, man. I mean, this game. So Michigan's running game is great. Ohio State's run defense is great. That would have been worthy to talk about too. Ohio State's pass offense is incredible. Marvin Harrison is maybe the best receiver I've ever seen in college. I think that Kyle McCord had a great game. I think that this was maybe not the best. He made some mistakes, but he had a great game. And Ryan Day and his coaches had a great game. And I wanted to show you some of the things that they were doing and how they were adjusting to things that Michigan had never put on tape before. So we're just going to start with this. This is a simple coverage. I think it's called Palms. I don't know coverages nearly as well. And Michigan didn't help because all year they were just showing the simplest stuff, right? But they're playing too high most of the year, right? They like to have 2 guys high. They like to defend the run with a light box. This is 3rd and 8, so they're not really worried about a run. But just watch Kyle McCord on this. All right. They motion this guy in. These motions that Ohio State had are supposed to tell you what kind of coverage they have. All right. When they motion him in, they're all watching. They're watching to see what these guys are doing out here. And they're getting something that looks like a man look, right? But then look, did you see what Michigan's guys just did? Watch this communication right here. Talking to each other, right? What do you think they're saying?
Oh, I think they're moving it to zone. You got the safety coming up, and they're switching to right before the play.
Close. They're not switching to zone. They're switching to a switch coverage. So it is man 2, right? So they've got this guy over they have a safety over to help anything long, and it's man 2 underneath. But they think they caught Michigan in man 2. They're going to have these guys cross. See that? And when they do that, that was always kind of a problem for Michigan because the way they like to either they were playing cover 3 or they are playing man, and either way, this guy's going to get rubbed out. And he's supposed to kind of go up here with him. And they're watching this. They're watching how these guys play, but he's just watching the out. Do I have the space? And then all of a sudden, they're switching. See that? They switch guys that they were on. So they get the coverage. So that's what Ohio State does. They shift in the beginning, right? They get the motion. The motion reveals the coverage. He thinks he's got man. He's watching his guy all the way. As soon as he thinks he's got space, he throws it. But I think McCord actually sees him at the last second and turfs it. I think, this is just my thought, but then, other people have looked at this and kind of agreed with me that, he sees that coverage a second too late.
Yeah, he's so surprised that there's actually a guy standing there that the rub didn't work, that he doesn't have the same easy throw that he normally would, and either rushes it or just decides there's nothing there. Could go the other way.
Yeah. And Michigan is making this really hard on him all game. This is a play from the third quarter. It's a run play, but I just want you to watch the coverage here. Okay, you're given a regular too high look, right? These guys. Okay, but watch what happens. Look at Samer still and Rod Moore. See that? I mean, it's a run play, but we're trying to kind of have guys show up in places where they're not looking. And that was a good example just because you can kind of see it right there.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show you that because that's what Michigan's doing. They're having guys show up in places that Ohio State doesn't expect. So here's another one. And remember, Michigan is playing against their own tendencies all year. When they got this look, right? Normally, when you get this look from Michigan, it means these two safeties are going to play high, right? And it means this is they're playing 2 off, right? It means they're going to play probably a 2 coverage or a cover 4, but they're going to play light, right? And you got some chance to run it down the box, but 2nd and 8, they're probably not going to be running it. But this is kind of a typical look for Michigan where you typically get, a soft coverage. Michigan's going to run something called poach, which they didn't really run that much this year. Poach means when you got trips, right? You got 3 wide receivers to the same side. Poach means you're going to take a safety from the other side and add him to your coverage. So watch how this is the guy they're worried about, right?
For Ohio State.
And McCord's out there looking at him, but Michigan's going to take this safety and poach over here. Now, McCord has been prepared for this. He knows if he gets poach, he's going to go and look and see what he's got down here because he's got a cool route combination on the right side here between these two guys, right? They're both going vertical, but you got this wheel route kind of behind the tight end down the seam, and that's supposed to give you he's reading this cornerback here, sees the cornerback's off, thinks he's got leverage here because you figure the running back is going to take the linebacker's going to take the running back. What happens? Different guy. We actually have Michael Barrett playing safety. He comes off. He's already throwing it. We almost have an interception.
Yeah.
So it's a subtle thing, right? But we gave them 2 different looks, and so I drew this one up. All right, so here's their concept. Here's the pass concept they got. We're going to have this look down here. We're going to give them this too high look that we normally
Seth,
hit.
while you're pulling that up, I mean, I guess one question is that if they run a crossing pattern that we're switching on all of those, is that or is it pre-play, and I mean, it looks like it's live, they're talking to each other before the play. It's part of the call.
Mm-hmm.
If we get this, stay where you are. So it's not zone. I mean, they're playing man to man, but it's a little bit of a zone. Like I'm going to stick in my spot right here. We're not going to waste the steps.
This one's more of a zone. It's just they're flipping the guys who are going to be playing any given zone.
Yeah.
Right. So you're expecting at first you're expecting to see him go high, right? You're going to expect to see the cornerback kind of play out here, and then expect to see the linebacker play here. That's what you're looking for.
Middle.
Right. But the way you're reading this, right? Because the number 2 is the first. This guy on the trips, right? The number 3 receiver on trips is always kind of like the first guy you're looking at on this concept because you don't have anybody over him. See how Michigan's lined up? Sorry about that, beep. See how Michigan's lined up? They don't really have anybody over the number 2. So they're giving you a look that it looks like you're going to have a space to throw it right in here. So Michigan's baiting. They're saying, hey, come throw it in here, okay? Now, this is their route concept. This is the route that attacks right there. That's the one McCord looks at first. Okay, you get your regular behavior right there. It looks like they're going to have space in the middle, but you're poaching. You're bringing this safety over here. Now McCord sees the safety. He's reading that safety because that safety is going to tell him if he's got this inside or not. If he doesn't, the next read over is here. This is the spot the safety's supposed to get, right? What does he look over here and see? He sees this cornerback running with the tight end. And that tells him all this space in here is space that he gets to throw it to. he doesn't see is Michigan flips these two guys in coverage. Instead of linebacker going with the running back like usual, right? The linebacker is going to go and play safety. The cornerback is going to come get on top of the wheel route. And when he throws it, all of a sudden, there's Michael Barrett right in the spot that he thought he had space to throw. That was his leverage, right?
And you can't do that without a Michael Barrett level linebacker. What a player.
Yeah.
What a player.
Yeah. So I want to show you what Ohio State did to beat that, okay? So now that was the first quarter. Ohio State's smart. They saw what happened to them. They took a look at the film. They saw that, especially looked at one where they almost gave up an interception, right? And they had some ways to beat it. So the thing that they noticed, I should go back to this one, okay? Forgot to show you this part. Look who's matched on Harrison right here. That's Marvin Harrison on a crossing route. And look, because you took a cornerback out of here, right? So you took your coverage away from this area. You took your help away from this area, but Michigan got away with it because, this is not where they're reading. They're not looking at this. You're not expecting the drag route to be it's like the last thing he looks at, right? The drag route is there in case he gets pressure and he runs out of here and then he can, dump it off to that guy. That's what the drag route's there for. All right. But the drag route, Michigan was smart. Michigan actually managed to cover the drag route. They managed to cover Marvin Harrison in man coverage with Junior Colson. That's cheating, right? That's getting away with it. Okay? So here's what they do.
McCord will let it fly over the middle. Caught. Harrison, touchdown.
Totally took advantage of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, and let's go back and look at that. So here was the last play we saw where we almost got Michael Barrett's interception, okay? This is the fourth quarter. Virtually the same setup, right? The only difference, they moved these guys over a little bit. They got Marvin Harrison moved over a little bit over here to have these two guys next to each other. They're giving him a little bit more space on the backside. And Michigan's responding by having a little bit more coverage in here. They're taking away this inside, okay? Because to Michigan, it looks like, okay, they're going to try to beat us in this spot. Michigan's running the same coverage. They flip the safeties, but they still got the same coverage. They're running the same exact concept here. See? Same guys running the same routes. All right? Michigan matches with the same coverage, but Michigan's going to do something different. Michigan thinks they're in clever here. They're going to flip that back again. So they figure, okay, we got him. He's going to see this. He's going to see this. He's going to see the cornerback going with him, and he's going to think, okay, they're going to get me. They're going to try to get me again. I'm going to try to get out here to my wheel. And then you got Barrett hightailing it over towards the wheel. What Michigan didn't do was realize Ohio State had figured out remember how Colson was over here last time?
Yeah, and Harrison was a little wider, so there's less of a head start.
Right. So Harrison was over here. Up. Yeah. So this is this is the setup last time, right? This is our setup now. Harrison's closer in. Harrison's closer to the, to the box, and Colson is further from the box, and Colson's actually even going to widen up and drop into his spot instead of saying, "Uh-oh, get on this guy's tail," right? That's how they beat us on this, because they're looking for this all the way. They know exactly what, and they don't care that Michigan switched up the coverage on here. Michigan thinks that they're going to, outsmart them over here, but they don't care. They're just watching this. They get what they want. Colson's supposed to get on his horse and try to take that away. Michigan was kind of gambling that, he lollygags across the middle a little bit, and Colson should be able to cut him off. Colson's a little slow, and that gets them their touchdown. Now, that's the fourth quarter, right? We're almost at the end of the game.
In short.
I want to show you a couple more things that went on during this game, how they were breaking us down, some of the things that Ohio State was using to figure out why we were in one coverage or not, okay? And they started on the second quarter. Now, they've had a chance to look at some of the film, and they're starting to do some of the things that they're doing. Now, watch. This guy goes in motion. Watch who goes with him. What did Ohio State see? What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they saw the shift across the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw Rod Moore, right?
Yeah, I think Rod Moore's coming down to pick him up, but
right. So
we'll see what happens.
They think that Michigan's in a they think they've got us, right? that Michigan had these poach coverages where you're using the backside. So when they motion, now you got this look over here, and it's like, okay, we know. The other thing they see, sorry, I went back a little bit because I wanted to show you the sideline a little, but I don't think we can really see the sideline. But you wonder how we get signs. It's because the quarterback's looking right at that, and everyone gets it off of this kind of footage. They have better footage, too, to show it. Everyone's got each other's signs. Anyway, the other thing they're watching here is Sainer still, who's kind of set up like he's going to blitz, and he doesn't move. He's blitzing, right? So that tells them he's blitzing. He's probably dropping into coverage, and that means they've got this matchup over here because you took the safety away, right? So who's going to be on the tight end back here?
Yeah, but
Jimmy Rolder, who just got moved.
They got a young, less experienced linebacker out there against pretty darn good tight end.
Exactly. And, they give him a little bit of play action, not much, but it's enough to get him flat-footed for a second. And that's all it takes. There's your safety heading on over here, right? They figured it out. They got us right. All right, you got Harrell dropping over here. You're not going to leave Harrell alone with a wide receiver, so you're going to have this coverage over here. Means he's isolated.
Play fake.
And they throw it right over the top of him. And it's too bad that they had us on this one because I can forward a little bit. Benny had this.
McCord, play fake.
Yeah.
So close. So,
and the numbers really, really drop off from McCord the same way Drew Aller style with some pressure. You saw that some of this game too. I mean, when he had a clean pocket, he put the ball in the money. When he didn't have a clean pocket, that's where we were able to get him
sometimes
shut down.
He actually that was one of the examples, and I thought there were several examples in this game where he was way better than usual and better than anyone else we faced this year, actually, at throwing under pressure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe they just practiced that a lot more in this game and had him more ready for it. But here's some more sign stealing if you want. You want to learn.
Every time you see a sign.
Yeah. See if you can do it, man. See if you can guess what this sign is. All right. See how he's kind of rotating his hands. I don't know if you can see it that well, but the guy's still doing it over here. They're all making this motion, right? What does that mean? What do you think?
Thank you, Tom.
Oh, man, you tell me. I didn't see it that clear. Here we go.
Yeah, flip. It means flip these two players.
Yeah, yep.
Okay?
I see it now.
So we're going to take the tight end.
First down and 10 at the.
He's like, you got to get over there, but he didn't get the sign. You can tell they're new signs, right? so
that was the
that's
game.
Fleming. Yeah, that was the game. There's Fleming. What am I supposed to do? Why am I not over here? Where do I go? Where do I go? And Marvin Harrison explains it to him. Dude, you're over here. Get me open. Okay? So what Marvin knows and what Ryan Day knows and Fleming doesn't know and Stover knows, that Ohio State just moved their tight end over there, right? And who didn't move? Michael Barrett. Now they're communicating back here. They're figuring out what their coverage is going to be. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Right? They're seeing if they're going to change their coverage, who's got what. But we just put a tight end on Sainer still. This is after Will Johnson went out. Okay? So we have a tight end out here on him, which means you have a wide receiver now moving over here. And Barrett's like, you're not going to flip with me? You're not going to get... He's like, don't worry, I got you. I'm over the top of you. That's a problem. Ohio State now knows that we're not going to leave Michael Barrett on top of two receivers, right?
Right.
Especially you're not going to leave him on top of Harrison. So now they've identified some part of the coverage. They know this linebacker is going to stay down. They know he's down already. Probably going to have help from him. Okay? Don't have to worry about the poach this time. McCord, first thing he looks at, checks that safety over there. Is he coming over to help? Nope, he's not. I've got it.
He's up in the pocket.
And that's how they broke. Now they've got both these guys going here. Will Johnson has to worry about him for a second. He gets in trail coverage, and they're just going to throw right over the top. It's hard to see. But there's Barrett playing underneath. There's Moore giving him help. And they moved him all the way over, right? This is that receiver who started all the way over here. They're giving him all this space, and they're just giving Harrison an opportunity to get downfield. And he's got all this space. And Johnson actually has a chance to play this if he sees it. But he doesn't. He's terrified that they're just going right over the top of him. So he tackles him, and he makes the catch anyway.
Yeah, I mean, hey, limiting the damage from a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. was the name of the game. I mean, we knew he was gonna get something, but it definitely wasn't enough. So,
Yeah.
I like this play.
So Michigan wasn't done, right? Ohio State's figured us out. By the fourth quarter, on the last touchdown, they figured out our poaches. They figured out how to, but they were switching guys around to figure us out. Ohio State had a plan for understanding what Michigan's coverages were and identifying which ones they were, because Michigan was throwing all sorts of coverages on them. Now, they didn't line up legally here, but we can deal with that later. But here's the setup, right? He starts moving. That's supposed to give him a little bit of a motion, but he's looking out here, right? McCord is watching this safety. He's watching Quentin Johnson is getting over on top of here, okay? That safety's cleared out. I got space in here. Who's going to be running here? Well, you got a linebacker against a receiver, right? We just learned Michigan's not going to leave a linebacker over a receiver. And he's got Rod Moore here. He's worried about Rod Moore going on that. So Rod Moore is going to be taking that, he thinks, right? That's who we got. Doesn't see. Barrett's actually just fine dropping back into this one. And Rod Moore cuts off. So Rod Moore, he thinks Rod Moore's going to be over here on top of this. Even if it wasn't pressure, Moore was going to intercept this. He was baiting this the whole way. So they're just moving guys all over the place, and you can see it again on replay. You can see where he's watching. All right. Wait, sorry, I was watching Jalen Harrell. Wait, sorry, I was watching Jalen Harrell again. All right. Try to watch the coverage. Okay? He's looking out here. Safety's going to go out here, right? All right, good. These guys are doubled. I'm going to have singles everywhere else I need. I'm going to have my leverage. Looks back. Here's my next guy, right? We're not going to leave a linebacker in Egbuka. So now I'm watching Rod Moore. What's Rod Moore do? Steps with Egbuka. See that? As soon as he sees Rod Moore stepping with Egbuka, he's like, okay, this is where my leverage is. This is where I get to throw. Watch Rod Moore.
Yeah, he's already stepping that way. Yeah. Yeah, he's already stepping that way even before the throw's impacted.
Exactly. So Michigan wasn't done. They had so many switch coverages planned. They had so many different ideas planned, and they baited that last one using what they knew of what Ohio State knew about them. So, I mean, this game, it's really fun to kind of go through and try to pick out, and you can only find pieces of it, right? But even the pieces that I found, this game was just played at such a high level. There was just so much thought going into this, and just, reaction upon reaction upon reaction, things that they hadn't shown each other beforehand. And it's just incredible breaking down this tape, because man, this was just a great football game. That's fantastic offensive mind that Ohio State has. He figured out what Michigan's defense was on one shot, right? Even by the second quarter, he was figuring out what Michigan was doing, even though Michigan was throwing all sorts of looks at them. And then Michigan figures out what Ohio State's rules are and uses that on the final pick. And man, this game was just great football, and it was so fun to watch. It's so cool that we got the payoff after like all year of playing with light boxes. And what are we doing with this extra safety? That's what we're doing with the extra safety. We're playing these games.
Yeah, getting used to it so that we could do this now. So coming into this weekend, I've seen a lot of first half over-unders at like 3.5 points for Iowa. I mean, I think Iowa's always going to put up a good fight. They're a tough football team, but I'm really looking forward to the potential of Tony Petitti handing Jim Harbaugh a piece of hardware after that game. Can't wait to see that. It's going to be must-see TV.
Yeah, man. I mean, this defense is better than the defense we faced last year for Iowa, but they're, not as good as the defense that we faced in the Big Ten championship last time. This is, I hate getting this. I hate just like running off a team, but like this is a terrible Big Ten West, and Iowa just kind of walked to the championship without playing Michigan or Ohio State, and because we haven't seen them against a big team, in the Big Ten was so down this year. It's like, what are you going to learn against them against Nebraska?
Yeah,
I'm going to go back and watch more Iowa, Nebraska, so I can talk a little bit more intelligently tomorrow. But yeah, I don't know. Brian and I are disagreeing on their linebacker athleticism right now. That's the only question, really.
Well, before you watch too much tape, make sure you get a Red Bull or an extra cup of coffee so you don't fall asleep. I can tell you
man,
that.
I'm not sleeping until Sunday. Until Sunday's podcast is over, maybe. Not actually no, because I still have to UFR, and we and I will have a video next week. And next week, 1 week from today, I will sleep.
All right. 1 week from today, Seth will sleep, hopefully with a third straight Big Ten championship in hand and some discussion of who we will be playing in the national semifinals. Man, let this be the year, Seth. Let this be the year.
Oh, I already told you what I think. It's in the back of Hill of the Victors, so go Blue.
Go Blue.